Hello, friends. And I'm back. And I'm in a real spooky mood. So, what do you think is scarier than an STD? Because honest to goodness, I can't think of a single damn thing. But Chantal, as always, has different ideas. Rather than beating around the bush, leading you in with a very long, drawn-out explanation of what we're doing here and why, I'll just say this. We're going to talk about Chantal's video, the clinic called And I Have Something, as well as her immediately following that, well, not immediately following, but a few hours after, all of the fuckery that goes on in her comment section. So in her comment section, in her community tab section. So we're going to talk about both of those things. I am, every time I try to leave, they pull me back in. She does make me very mad, and I am quite fed up with her. So I'm looking forward to taking a little bit of a break while I go on vacation. If you guys don't know, I'm going on vacation starting this coming Friday or so. You might not see a video on Thursday, but I'm leaving Friday. So for sure you won't see a video after that. I might post like shorts or something like that. But so I just wanted to give you guys my 2 cents on what's going on before we leave. Hopefully we'll have more information, and let's jump into it.
I don't know what I have, Jordan, but I'm freaking out. Now, might not be an STD because they took my urine. And hi, everybody. I just woke up to this phone call. Look at the bags under my eyes. I need those things. No, I'm not okay. I didn't get the blood work done, though, so it's not going to be HIV or syphilis. So I got to go in. I can't call them.
All right. A couple things here. First, I'm not an expert in STDs. Most of my experience when it comes to medical research comes in the form of drug development. So this is not necessarily my forte, and I do something very specific when it comes to drug development, none of which I will get into because that's my business. So this is not my forte. That's all I meant to say. So I don't really know if you need more things, or if just urine is enough, what types of STDs require what types of tests. That's not where I specialize. Smokey, Steve, and Mark have put out a video today that I haven't gotten to watch just yet, and I'm really looking forward to their perspective because, like I said, they're experts in addiction and whatnot, both through lived experience and with Mark through his work as well. So they'll probably be able to provide more information on this. Though from my understanding, addiction and STDs tend to run a lot in the same circles. It's just the risky behavior that you engage in while you're taking drugs tends to follow through in all courses of life. And so, the same behavioral pattern that you're exhibiting when it comes to taking drugs can be exhibited in your sexual life, can be exhibited in your personal life, can be exhibited in your financial life. So everywhere you go, you see that same escalation, that same patterns of behavior. So, I mean, honestly, this was like a long time coming for her. As much as I don't want her to die, I don't want bad things to happen to her. For the most part, before this whole drug saga started, I found her to be relatively entertaining. Annoying, true, but relatively entertaining. It's kind of like watching, your favorite trash reality show. It's like you love to hate them. You know what I mean? So if you're watching, I don't actually watch a lot of reality. I'm thinking of the last reality TV show I watched was, I think it was The Real Housewives of New Jersey. Is that a show? I feel like it is a show. Maybe it was Atlantic City. But it was one of the Housewives shows that I watched. Maybe it was a parody. I think it was a housewife show. Anyway, that show I watched, the characters are very unlikable. They're not relatable at all, but they're entertaining nonetheless. That's how I felt towards Chantal. And my feelings towards her have evolved, right? I've said before, I don't hate her, but she does irritate me. She does annoy me. I do feel a fair amount of pity for her as well. And what I feel for her varies day to day depending on her own behavior, right? As it is with everybody. Because her addiction tends to manifest in the most obnoxious way, a lot of times my feelings tend to tip more into the side of irritation than they do on the side of pity, But, there we are. When it comes to going to the STD clinic, just a couple things I want to point out that just as someone who has worked in like commercial labs before, that I know. When you are running a test, you run a test for very specific things, right? So what I mean is that, say you take a urine sample, right? And a urine sample could be required. I'll just give Chantal as an example. It could be required to test for kidney functions, but it could also be what you use to check for STDs. If someone has marked that they are here for STDs, right? And this is the particular thing they want to check for. That is the only thing that they are going to check in her urine, because that is the only thing we've been tasked to check for in her urine. A lot of times that's because running additional tests are expensive. Also because there is always that chance of like false positives / negatives that can occur in science. So you don't just want to do like extra tests. That's not always a good thing. And last but not least, sometimes the sample is extremely limited, right? When it comes to, for example, running a ton of blood tests on very young kids, especially newborns, the amount of blood you can take from them is very, very limited. And so it tends to be a very select few number of things that they run. So she's saying that, it's not STDs. Well, if it's, maybe it's like a kidney thing. I think she makes that point again later on. She's like, maybe it's not an STD. They are not going to tell you if it's anything other than an STD. You went to an STD clinic, that's all they're going to check for you. You asked for STD check, that's all they're going to check for you. They will not check for other things other than STDs because that's not what you have asked them to check for. That's not the thing of concern. She could have other kidney problems. Lord knows she probably does. But that's not what they're going to be checking for, and therefore she won't know. And I think that even though that the first bit of it of why they don't check might not be clear to everyone, that second bit of it, that if that's not the test I went for, that's not the result they're going to come back with, I think is fairly obvious to most people. She is once more employing the ostrich method of dealing with her problems. Secondarily, she looks rough, like a lot rough. Like a lot of times, as you get older, this is my own personal opinion, this is not a fact. I have found that as women age a little bit, I think it's better for them to carry a little bit more weight than it is for them to be like super rail thin, right? And the reason for it is that as you lose collagen in your skin, a lot of those lines tend to be pushed out and puffed out a little bit more if there's more fat filling it in. I'm not saying get to like a dangerous level, but I'm saying that rather than being like, I don't know, like a freely, right? Maybe you could be like an unnatural vegan, right? Both healthy. I think Freely's healthy. Both are relatively like healthy women, and both of them within a normal BMI range, but that's why it's a range and it's not like a number, right? Beyond the little bit on the heavier side, it can help with that. Chantal tends to have relatively filled out skin for the most part from what we've seen of her, just because she carries so much extra weight, right? It's hard to see wrinkles if they're filled with fat. You can see wrinkles on her face right now. She's got the sagging under her eyes going. Even her skin looks choppy and beat up. And we know she has all of the filters engaged because Chantal has a very distorted perception of what she looks like, right? So she thinks that she is fat, but I don't think that she has a realization of what her skin looks like, what her like actual face looks like. I feel like if she did, she might treat her slightly better, but who knows with her. Because most of the time when she sees herself with these filters on, something that's very damaging actually scientifically for you to always see yourself through the lens of social media and through the lens of like filters. Because if you ever see your true unvarnished skin, you think there's something wrong. I have said before, this is not coming from a place of judgment. I have incredibly terrible skin, like truly bad, right? I have like a hair in my eye. My God, go away. I have incredibly bad skin. I have very highly textured skin. I have eczema on my skin. I even get acne. You guys know my one acne, even despite the fact that I put the little pimple patch on it, it did not go away. Acne remains, right? I think I'm going to name it like Vesuvius or something because I feel like it's gotten bigger. Either way, not someone who has great skin, but that doesn't mean that I spend all my time hiding it behind makeup or behind filters. I don't use any filters on any of my pictures or any of my stuff really, other than it's like color stuff that I sometimes do. Very rarely even that, because I don't know how to do most of that stuff. And I don't edit. I don't really do any sort of filters on my videos at all. I put makeup on, but that's mostly just because I like doing adult face painting. So, and I think that that's letting yourself become familiar with your own face is very necessary, which is why when you don't do that, you get yourself into these situations that you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you say, frack, it's like I've aged overnight. No, not really. Your skin's probably not been great for a while. You just hadn't noticed because you only ever see yourself with filters.
Go back, I have to go in.
All right, 2 things here. One, she mentions before that she didn't get the blood work done. Most places, right now at least, will have a policy of you can book your blood work, like schedule your blood work in advance, I think because of COVID. But I'm guessing that since this is an STD clinic, they probably at least have some availability for walk-ins. If nothing else, I'm sure that the person who she spoke to who ordered her blood work could probably put in an emergency for her so that she could go and urgently get her blood work done. What I think happened is that urine was easy enough to do. She just had to go to the bathroom. But with blood, there's probably a line. There's probably waiting. Chantal had to wake up, she probably had to wake up early to go get all this stuff done, and she didn't want to, or it was just going to take too long and she just felt like she was over it. Or last but not least, ostrich method. She didn't want to know. So she's like, if I just avoid this, maybe they won't give me the bad news. So she went home. She's good at that. And I am saying this with a little bit of 20/20 vision, but we'll get into that. So she went home and she didn't get that blood work done. Given what she says later on in this video, I'm inclined to believe that she could have gotten it done and chose not to. And then she's like, and they called me and they told me to come in. Ugh. And it makes me so incredibly mad because there's people out there, and I'm not talking about the United States where like healthcare is expensive. I'm talking about people who are living in all parts of the world who don't have access to that. Like, I don't know, I saw today, literally came out today, that 5.3% of all blood donors in Pakistan are HIV positive. And that's incredibly sad. These are people who are trying to do a good thing, and I don't think they even realize that they have a disease that left untreated could kill them. And they don't have the ability, a lot of them don't have the ability to go to the hospital, get themselves checked out, even afford the medication needed to get better. And here Chantal is sitting and just being ungrateful of the fact that she has access to all of the medicine and everything she could need to get better and is actively blowing it through her own choices.
So, that means I'm gonna go in. Get your life together. What the friggin' hell? I'm on here today to tell you all. Never. I'm still trying to process.
See, I'm on here today to tell you all, never. And then she trails off because she has nothing to say. You're on here today to tell us what? You made this video title because you feel like you already know that you have something, but you haven't gone to the doctor, so you haven't gotten the results. You are HIV. I'm sorry. I really apologize. That was just on my mind. You are potentially positive for an STD. And the reason that you are more than likely positive for an STD is because you were having unprotected sex with a man who, by all accounts, is an all-around scoundrel. And I don't mean scoundrel in the way that Bridgerton uses it. I mean scoundrel in the way that it's originally intended. He is not a good person. He is a deplorable person, if anything. So you were engaging in rampant, hardcore drug use, and then after that, excessive use of a legalized substance. You have been driving recklessly, you've been eating recklessly, you've pushed away all your family and friends. And you're going to sit here and you're going to defend yourself with, I'm not, I don't need to hear that. That's not something I need to hear. Like, put yourself together. I'm sorry, but what part of that statement was untrue or hurtful or unfair? Because I feel like, yeah, you really need to get your act together. Get your fucking shit together. Your life is deteriorating around you, and seemingly you seem to be hastening it. You're like pouring fuel on your own funeral pyre, and I cannot for the life of me understand why.
The fact that somebody I spent 5 months pushing family members away, pushing friends away for, isolating myself for, going through fucking emotional hell for, possibly endangered my health even more. Yes.
I'd feel so bad for her if this was the first or only time they had broken up. If she had been together with this man, right? And say they'd been together for the whole 5 months and they'd never broken up and she was just together with him. And then she finds out about this and she breaks up with him. She goes home and she puts this out onto the internet. I would have felt sympathy, empathy, care, pain for her because that sucks. It sucks. And for you to not have seen it at all sucks even more because that can happen. But for her to have gone through with so many cycles and with all of the resources at her disposal, including, according to some people who are now taking shots at Chantal, $12,000 of profit last month, you're going to sit here and you're going to tell me that, you know, I can't believe I expended all. You knew this. You knew this, right? Remember when you called him abusive in every way? Remember when you said that, you know, you can't be, you don't feel safe with him? Remember when you said paper clips? Do you remember all of that? And then you went back to him after every single time. You keep going back to him, despite the fact that he doesn't have a hold on you the way that a lot of time abusers do, right? Women have a hard time leaving their abusers for a variety of reasons, including psychological, but some of them are physical. Reasons like not having their own finances, not, being tied to them because they're married, being tied to them because of a lease, not having their own transportation, not having family or friends that you can rely on, maybe having children and pets. You don't have any of that. You have an incredibly large public platform where you can put all this information on. That's another thing. You know, a lot of times abusers control the narrative and the person, the victim of their abuse, has no way of getting their side of the story, their information out there. You've never been at any of those crossroads. You get yourself into these situations. You put yourself in this peril. So when you sit here and you say, I can't believe I did all this, yeah, you did it. You did it of your own free will, without anybody forcing your hand, without anybody making you do anything. So my empathy for you wanes. My care for you wanes. I don't have like the same kind of reaction I would to another creator. I simply don't. You've made me not care.
Of course, it's up to you. For what? It's up to you to control your sexual health. Of course. It's up to nobody else. And you're right. There was somebody over there the second day. But would it take this long? So it has to be somebody new, right?
Two things. She says, I'm like, two things only. But she says that, of course it's up to you to control your sexual health, but she doesn't connect that back to herself. That it is up to every individual to make sure that their sexual health is accounted for and that is their priority. Therefore, and I am an individual, and therefore I should have been the master of my own fate, and I should have insisted on a condom, and if he said no to that, then I should have walked out, because that's what that means. You chose not to do that. So you're thinking, and she does this a lot. There's a disconnect in her mind a lot of actions people should take and what I did. And she doesn't seem to realize that she preaches a lot of things that she never seems to actually practice. It never connects to her that just because these are things that should be done and I'm not doing them, that I am irresponsible. Because that's where that train of thought should end. This is what I should have done. This is what responsible individuals need to do. I'm a responsible individual. I failed to follow these things, and therefore I am an irresponsible person. She never lets that train arrive at its final destination, because to acknowledge that would mean to acknowledge fault. And Chantal is never about acknowledging fault. She never wants to think about it. She never wants to deal with it. She never wants to talk about it. Nothing is ever her fault. She is the victim of society. The world has done her wrong. You know, she's not losing weight because, you know, her metabolism is too slow and, you know, she has all of these physical conditions and, you know, it's so hard for her and body positivity and people come in all shapes and sizes and blah, 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 blah. It's never as simple as maybe I shouldn't eat quite so much. If I just had more self-control and if I did some better, deeper thinking and talked to a therapist, maybe I could get this under control and I would stop eating so much, right? It's always, well, they ran out in front of my car and it was dark and, you know, they need to illuminate these streets better. And it's never, maybe I shouldn't be on chat while I'm driving because it distracts me, you know? She always thinks of things in terms of, well, he's such an abused person. He's such a bad person. He's doing all this and that. And never, I willingly went into this relationship. She never likes to finish that train of thought. And this is why, like, no amount of wanting to travel or going to see her aunt or Eurobeasing or whatever the fuck it is else that she comes up with next is ever going to solve her problem. For some people, going on vacation is the solution. Like, for me, I am feeling burnt out in my life. I'm not gonna, and that's not just Chantal, though. Her channel is also part of it. In all aspects of my life, I'm feeling exhausted. I'm feeling tired. I'm feeling overwhelmed. Right? And for me, the solution is that I'm going to take a little bit of a break. That fixes my problem. It's rejuvenation. Chantal can't get away from her problems because her problems are her. In every walk of life, her problems are her. No matter where she is, her problems come with her because her personality goes with her. Her neuroses go with her. Her issues go with her. And she's never willing to unburden herself from those things because that requires heavy lifting. It requires pain, it requires serious therapy, and it requires follow through and a want to change, a commitment to change, of doing better and being better and taking responsibility and holding yourself accountable. None of those things are things that she wants. If you guys have forgotten, she said before, she's like, I say I want accountability, I don't want accountability. And that's maybe the truest thing that Chantal has ever said on her channel, ever.
I probably have to go to the pharmacy. That's what I had to do with him. Get the script, go to the pharmacy, bring him back. I got it. The friggin' woman dancing on his videos gave us the clap. I know it.
All right, so 2 things here. First, she's assuming that whatever she has is easily fixable with another prescription. She's like, well, I already take a fistful of medications. What's one more on the pile, right? Makes no difference. Doesn't seem to realize that there's a whole host of problems that maybe just won't get solved, that some stuff you just live with. And once more, Chantal has gotten, you know, all of her sexual reproductive organs removed. And so she's like, well, the big P isn't there anymore, right? She can't get pregnant, and therefore, who the fuck cares if she gets some sort of venereal disease? Secondarily, she says that, the woman on the video gave us the clap. Now, I am filming this with the benefit of hindsight, right? So, like, I have her community tab fuckery that's gonna come up. That's literally what I called it too, by the way. When I like screen grabbed it and I like saved that file, it was like community tab fuckery. But even before that, I remember hearing that when she said, you know, she gave us the clap, and I'm like, us? She gave us the clap. She gave us the clap. There are 2 parts. She, first of all, and then us. Both of those. Both parts of the first part of that bothered me. She implies that, you know, like, her fault. It's pointing blame in one direction, right? But it's not like she showed up to Nader's house and then tripped and fell directly on his dick, right? That's not what happened. They had sexual intercourse. He got an STD from her, even if it was her, which we don't know. Given his overall personality and his demeanor towards you and other women, right, I would be more inclined to believe that he was the one being the coercive partner than the other person, whoever he got the STD was. It's just the kind of guy that he strikes me as. But once more, that's my own personal opinion. I am not saying that's a fact, right? So unless it is a case of coercion, it would be they. It wouldn't be she. It would be they, right? Because they did this to you. And that other person, whoever it is who gave him the clap, they might not even know you exist. You've got like 80,000, 90,000 subscribers on YouTube. But hell, there are people out there with like 1 million, 2 million, 10 million subscribers on YouTube that I've never heard of before. YouTube's a huge channel, so even though it feels really insular sometimes, right? You get the same kinds of videos recommended to you. That's only because that's how the algorithm works. YouTube is a huge, huge platform, and it's got a ton of different people on there. So entirely possible that this guy didn't want anyone to know that he was involved with you, or he did not consider that you were even his girlfriend, and therefore worth mentioning to his other sexual partner, right? And he had sex with this person, and then he got an STD. How can you say she gave us the clap? And you don't even know this random person. You have no idea who this woman is. How do you know that it was her who did it, right? And I know she's being facetious, like, it feel like the way that she's behaving. The implication there being that because she is sending flirty messages and flirty videos to her, Chantal's boyfriend, that therefore she is the kind of person who would have an STD, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that slut shaming? For all that you talk about, oh, you're disability shaming me, you're addict shaming me, I'm sure you're going to be STD shaming me, you're actually literally slut shaming someone. And I think that Nader is a toxic individual as all get out. So as far as I'm concerned, nobody should be sending him anything. No woman should be involving herself with this man. But if she's involving herself with him, you can say that she has poor judgment. What you cannot say is look at another woman and say, you look like the kind of woman who would have an STD. Because Chantal, you are the kind of woman who has an STD. And for all that I am mad at you, that is not one thing that I'm like looking at you and thinking that you're dirty or disgusting for, right? It's literally a lack of education problem. It's for her, it is a lack of thoughtfulness, it's a lack of understanding, and it's a lack of follow through. But it is not a problem of her being like a dirty or a less worthwhile individual, which is what she is implying right now. Second part of that is the us. And oh my God, that made me so mad. There is no us. No us. There should never be an us in this again. This man has hit you. This man has threatened your best friend. And I'm talking about Pete's, not Shannon, though I'm sure he's threatened Shannon too, right? This man has hurt your cats. This man has caused you to push away all of your family and friends and live this hollowed out existence that you have. This is not even living. As far as I'm concerned, if I existed the way that she's existing right now, that's all I would call it. It's just existence. I would feel like I was in the fucking Truman Show, just there for the entertainment of the public, like a monkey clapping, you know, while someone plays a tune behind me, dancing so that people will throw coins for my master. I would, honestly, if I lived the way that Chantal is living right now, the depression I would feel. I'm already prone to anxiety. I genuinely am. The places my mind would go and the way that I would spiral. But then again, I have standards. So maybe it's different. This man has brought you to all that. Chantal's life might not have been all champagne and pearls before they got together, but it wasn't this. She had friends. She had family. It wasn't whatever it is, the hollowed out existence that she is living in right now. This man did this, right? And I'm not saying that it is 100% his fault, but goddamn was he the catalyst. Us? There is no us. There should never be an us. There should never have been an us to begin with, because you should have listened to everybody saying that, hey, keep this man as a fling. Even then, I wouldn't have picked him as a fling. But if you got to have a fling, then fucking have a fling. And then fling it away. It should have been done. You tried to turn your dealer into your boyfriend. I feel like that's like a joke t-shirt you would find in Vegas. You know? Like, I turned my dealer into my boyfriend and all I got was this crappy STD. I don't, like, us, there should, oh my God, us. And the last part of that ends with the clap. How do you not realize that this man gave you the clap? This man went around having unprotected sex with at least one person, but could have been multiple people for all we know. He could have had sex with multiple people. And he gave you that STD. He put you in that kind of a danger. And the best thing that I can think of here is that, hey, you know what? Maybe it wasn't an STD. Maybe he wasn't, going around having unprotected sex with you. Maybe he got it through another means. And unfortunately, the most likely means through which you could get an STD, if it isn't literally through sex, would be through an exchange of other bodily fluids, such as blood. Blood is the most common, right? So he's an intravenous drug user. He's using other people's dirty needles is where my mind goes to. How can you say there is so much implication in that one sentence? I feel like I could make, a bread tube style video about this, like 45 minutes long, just talking about the implications of that one sentence and the deeper prejudices that it shows us about Chantal. And god damn, does it make me dislike her. It lays bare all the things that Chantal has never considered about herself to be at fault. It shows the deep critical flaws in her thinking.
I'm like, why would you? I don't think she even knows that he posted those. He's like I think he's posting private messages, which is not good. Like, because I remember her when I was like laying in bed with him one time. He's like, hey, this weirdo fucking messaged me.
I'm going to let her finish, actually, on second thought.
And he's probably messaging her. He calls her a weirdo to me. He's probably messaging her behind my back, but whatever. There was like so many messages, but no replies. But I think he put all those messages online. So I've seen a lot. That was the girl I told you. She's like, oh, you haven't seen these puppies. Who gives a fuck? He has these puppies.
Even if he called her a weirdo, there was no reason for you to call her a weirdo. You could have just said woman. You wanted to call her a weirdo because you want to hurt her. Because you think that other people are going to be as hurt by his behavior towards them as you are by his behavior towards you, not realizing that he ranks very low in most people's opinions, and therefore they wouldn't give a shit what he thinks about them. And once more, she's on here bashing another woman. I don't know why Chantal seems to hate other women, but she's got a really deep-seated problem of I'm not like other girlitis, right? And I hate that. I am like other girls. I like very girly things. I like really weird fancy things. I like teacups and I like pink. I like my giant elaborate wedding. I like my nice clothes. I like going on vacations. I am exactly like other girls, and I'm okay with that. And that is part of growing up and maturing. As women go through that period in their life when they're younger, they absorb a lot of those preconception of what the world says that a girl should be. And you think that's what womanhood is. That's what girlhood is that I am frivolous and stupid and all I think about is boys. And therefore, they absorb that into themselves. And a lot of time, it comes out in the form of projection of saying, I am not like other girls, when they mean what they actually mean is that I am not like the societal construct of what girls should be. I am not frivolous. I am not shallow. I am not one-dimensional. And I know most people don't actually think about it in those terms. But as we get older, people tend to forget about that stuff. They're like, oh yeah, I do like that stuff. I do like, being cutesy, and I do like pink, and I do like these things. That's why you go through that period where you really like pink, and then you get a little bit older and you hate pink, and then you like pink again. Right? And I'm using pink as an example, but there's a lot of things like that. There were a lot of my interests and hobbies that I just stopped engaging with altogether. And to my shame, one of the big ones was Twilight. I liked Harry Potter because I'm like, Harry Potter is so good and it's such a well-written book and all this and all that. I don't like all that Twilight nonsense, all about romance. I'm not like other girls. I don't care if the guy is sexy and cute or whatever. It was really stupid. I don't like Twilight, as it turns out, but it has nothing to do with that. It has very different reasons why I don't like Twilight and why I liked Harry Potter better. But I didn't want to read a book that was led by a female character who so much of her motivation was romance because I thought it's stupid because the audience for it was girls. And I didn't like other women, and I didn't like myself. But I grew out of that, as most women do, without having to do all of that deep soul searching. I only know this because if you guys can't tell, I am pretty hardcore liberal. And so I actually read a lot of stuff about like feminist theory and beliefs on, female empowerment and why certain times people do the things that they do. And of course, a lot of that comes with self-evaluation, therapy, all those fun, good things. It just shows a very lack of maturity in her thinking, a lack of maturity in her belief systems. She doesn't see herself as having aged beyond being that teenage girl. And she's always stuck in that mindset of, I am not like other girls because God forbid, I be like those other women, not realizing that other women are not your competition, that it is not us versus them. It's not me versus them, right? It's not like she is fighting a horde of other women to be with Natter. You are one woman, and these other women can be your allies. There are so many people out there who could offer Chantal so much advice and so much guidance and so much direction if only Chantal listened to them. And you know what the thing is? Most of those people who have the most advice to give are going to be women like her. Like me, for example. I too am a fat woman. And if you could listen with a non-judgmental, open frame of mind, you could actually learn so much. Because a lot of the women offering her advice, we aren't doing it because we are nothing like Chantal. We're doing it because we're a lot like Chantal. We're just slightly different. And the things that I have been through in my life to get to where I am today, I don't want other people to go through it. So learn from my mistakes. Be better than I was. I know it sounds like super pretentious, but genuinely, it's one of the reasons why, I think I started watching Charlie Gold. She always ended her videos with, better today than I was yesterday and greater tomorrow than I will be today. And I really like that sentiment. I like the sentiment of me being better than I was before. And I thought to myself, I want to pass that on to other people. And if you look at, I've started doing a lot more Chantal reacts, and my plan is to get back to it when my work allows, but I haven't had that happen just yet. Maybe one day in the future. But right now, I am in the place where this is all I can do. One day I want to go back to the kinds of videos that I was making where I was just, all it was scientific research, because I want to pass that information on to other people. I want other people to benefit from the things that I have learned without having to go through all of that hardcore, just struggle. That's all. I know my perspective is more like science and information, but that's not for everybody. And a lot of people have a lot of lived experience that they could pass to her that I think she could greatly benefit from.
Just joking. Pete? By the way, you blocked No Bueno. Don't block people when you're on live stream. I don't know how to unblock them now. Especially on open, just let them talk.
I find it really hypocritical of her to say this. I find a lot of what Chantal says and does hypocritical, but this I find particularly hypocritical because Chantal blocks people left, right, and center. She doesn't want Pete's to do it, right? Because she's like, oh, that's like an extra person who could be paying me, and I don't want to go through all the difficulty of unblocking them and remembering who they were and doing that. It's actually relatively easy to unblock people. There's a bajillion YouTube videos out there that you could just pull up and do. She's been in the YouTube game for 4+ years. I've been in this YouTube game for 1-ish year. And you know what? I know a lot. And I'm a Luddite, as I've said a bajillion times. I literally know nothing about technology, and I understand even less. So if I could figure it out, you can definitely figure it out. You don't want to, and that's a different thing. And she doesn't want Pete's to do it because Chantal's like, well, that's one more additional person who's paying, And now that Pete's has blocked them, well, that person isn't there anymore. You block people all of the time, and you can barely stay in open chat because of the sheer amount of criticism you get. But your discomfort trumps Pete's discomfort. Fuck, he's not even getting the money from this. You're the one who makes the actual money since he's going live on your channel. If he wants to block any people he wants in open chat, then he gets to block any people he wants in open chat. He's doing you a favor So don't sit there and dictate your terms to this man, especially not when you've brought this violent a-hole into his life. Or did you forget the part where your ex-boyfriend, or boyfriend again, probably at this point, threatened to punch him in the mouth? For all that Pete talks a big game online, he doesn't exactly seem like the overly confrontational type to me. I feel like he's more the kind of guy who would get punched in the face and then apologize. Not to stereotype him as a Canadian too much.
Anyway, no bueno is being kind of a douche.
Yeah.
To be honest.
I don't block anybody on my channel anymore, really.
She hasn't blocked people on her channel for like 4 minutes, and now she's like, I don't block people anymore. It's the same thing she does when she's dieting. She's like, oh, I don't eat meat anymore when she went vegan. It's like, bitch, you haven't been vegan for longer than 4 seconds. What are you talking about? Just yesterday you had a cheeseburger in your mouth. What are you talking about? You don't eat meat. It's the same thing. She's like, she's not blocking people actively, and therefore the way she presents it is that I've never blocked it and I don't do it anymore, or that at least it's been true for a very prolonged period of time. And God, what is that like joke? Oh, like something like a lack of guilty conscience is the sign of memory loss or something like that. And it's like whatever, something like that. But literally, that's her. She's got like the memory of a goldfish. Like if she's not actively doing the bad thing, then she's never done the bad thing, and therefore it's never happened.
But yeah, they can be, but I think they're more... No, I don't think No Bueno was a douche.
They were being bad. They were being pretty bad. Them and one other person. They were just...
Annoying you?
It wasn't that they were annoying me, it was that they were dragging the whole chat off into bad directions.
Oh.
Because people kept replying to them and everything, and it just...
I was like, bunch of sativa, thank you!
The chat was becoming a mess, is what it came down to.
Okay.
And it was because of those two.
It's amazing to me how much thought he put into it before actually blocking people in his chat. I don't tend to block people in my chat. For one, I don't get as many trolls, and 9 times out of 10, I don't care. The only time I've ever actually blocked a person was when they were getting like creepy and wanted to give me their number and stuff, and I became uncomfortable and I blocked them. But I haven't really blocked anybody else. If I ever do a live, anyone is, free to come into my chat, say whatever you want to me, and if I want to respond to it, I will. If I don't, I don't. But it makes sense to me that as a much larger chat, that he would look at it and he would say, hey, there's somebody in here and they're like causing drama in the chats, and the people who are here aren't really enjoying it, so I'm going to block these 2 people because they're obviously creating extenuous, unnecessary drama. Chantal's first initial reaction to it is to go, oh, because they were annoying you, because that's the only reason she can think of why she would not want somebody's money, is because they actively caused her some sort of discomfort. Not the other reasons. She could have gone with something like, oh, were they being racist? Because that might be a reason I would block someone, right? If they were saying the N-word, or they were like making like Holocaust jokes or something like that, I would 100% block them. Because there are actual douches like that who will do stuff like that. They think they're being edgy and funny, but all they're actually doing is being bigots. And I'm not here for that. You can go do that elsewhere. You can go do that in your own home with your own friends. Not on my channel. I don't care. But she didn't say any of those things. She said because they were annoying you, because that's the reason why she blocks people. Because if it wasn't, then she would have blocked, let's say, Shani for Christ, right? But we remember the time. I'm never going to let that die, because I want everybody to remember that. Chantal was actually defending Shani for Christ when Shani was giving her hundreds of dollars. And the moment Shani started saying negative things about her, all of a sudden she was persona non grata. And Pete's looked at it from a point of view of, it's ruining the experience for everybody. She is so myopic in on what she wants. She's never once given a thought to her wider audience. She's never once cared about how things are affecting them. She is just... There are lots of bad people on this platform, but Chantal is definitely one of them.
If you can't find the channel, it might just be because there's literally nothing there yet. Like, I only created it like an hour ago.
Alright guys, so I'm gonna go to the clinic now.
Okay. I actually thought I'd left the clip in here, but I guess I didn't. Pete's has made his own channel now where he's going to be making videos for and doing all those fun things. It's called Pete's of My Mind. If somebody has the actual link, please drop it down below. I could not find it. I did a cursory look. But if he hasn't actually posted anything, it might be hard to find it in a YouTube search. The funny thing to me is that Chantal didn't actually add his channel when I know she's like put Nader's channel in her like chat before. It's funny to me that she hasn't gone out of her way to do that. Pete's could very easily provide her with the link of his channel so that even if he hasn't posted anything, we could still go and subscribe. I know that for a fact because I think D'Angelo Wallace created his third channel. I'd gone and subscribed. He barely had like 1,000 subscribers then. And I couldn't find it, but he had the link in his channel description, in his second channel description. I was able to follow it over and I was able to subscribe. She could have very well done that. She's choosing not to because she doesn't care. Pete's doesn't rank as highly as her crack addict ex-boyfriend who gave her an STD.
It might be a long wait. I don't know how long the wait's gonna be.
While you're there, I'm thinking of going to the Rexall to get my second shot. And my medication.
Well, do you want to come with me or are you gonna go yourself?
I'll just go myself.
You're gonna go for a walk?
Yeah, I'm supposed to, so...
Okay. So I just left that in there because she said it's going to take a while, but she doesn't really mention how long. And now the rest of this video, the 40 seconds I have in here, is just of this screenshot. Now, the first comment she posts is about 4 hours ago. For me, probably 5 or 6 hours now, and I don't know when I took the screenshot. But she posts it because it's been a whole ass day, and she hasn't posted anything else. And she said that when she got back from the STD clinic, she would, after she'd actually spoken with them. So this is basically what she said. Hi guys, sorry for the delay. I got busy and self-absorbed and forgot about updating you guys. So here's what's going on. I went all the way to the clinic only to find a huge line outside. I stood there for about half an hour and the line didn't move. So I got fed up and left. Not to mention the clinic closes early on weekends. They are supposed to open tomorrow, might be different hours due to COVID, not sure. So I will go first thing in the morning. Now, a couple of things to be noted in here is that she talks about like waiting in this long ass line. If they called her back, she could have easily gone to the front and said, hey, I was actually called back. They generally make separate lines for stuff like that. Second, she's saying she stood there for half an hour and then she got fed up and left. Unlikely. I think it's much more likely that she either didn't want to know anyway, and so she's like, avoid, avoid, avoid. Good enough reason for me to leave. I can just do this tomorrow, and maybe by tomorrow all of my problems will have gone away. And also, Chantal is still like 50 pounds right now. So I'm assuming standing for long periods of time isn't exactly something she enjoys doing and that it's actually quite painful for her. So I can't help but feel that she bailed because her feet started hurting. Chantal is fundamentally a very, very lazy person. Next thing we get about an hour after that is this. Just so you know, Nader's video was shot a while ago, and then in brackets, the same day as the grocery haul on Nader's channel. So I edited for him. He is looking for an editor at the moment. Sorry for the confusion. We are not a couple, but we still decided to remain friends. I have boundaries and will not disrespect them again. Love you guys. I read this and literally my entire fucking brain exploded. I was so mad. And I had known this would happen, right? You look at the ratio for all of these, by the way. If you can take a look on here, it's 64 thumbs up and then 701 comments on the post I just read out loud. People are not happy with her. And if you read through them, everybody is just mad. So she puts this up and she's saying, oh, you know, I edited that video for him, but it was filmed a while ago and blah, blah, blah. So first of all, how did he get his phone back? Because this was filmed on the phone that you gave him. So how did he get the phone back? Second of all, when did you edit it for him? Did you edit it for him then and it was ready to go and he just didn't post it? Because that's not how he made it sound. And if not, why did you fucking edit for him now? And then he's like, well, he's looking for an editor. Brief comment on that is a blind monkey could do that. The editing that Chantal does is very minimal, so figure it the fuck out. It's your channel. Google a few things and do it. It's really not that hard. And you've decided to remain friends. You've decided to remain... What friendship did you have before that you've decided to remain friends? Remain implies that you were friends to start with. You were never friends. You were two people having sex on a mattress on the floor, doing drugs together. And then you tried to make him into a boyfriend, which clearly did not go well, and he gave you an STD. So which part of that is the friendship from before that you were now trying to rekindle? What the fuck is wrong with you? Do you not remember when you came on this channel and you said, with your own mouth, you said that, remaining in his orbit is harmful for me. I can't remain just friends with him because that goes down the hill, right? Do you remember that part? Do you remember when you said that? Listen to your old videos and recall that and then go from there. What is wrong with you? Right now, all the things that you were doing for him before, you're doing for him again. You've given him the phone back. You're more than likely going to continue to fucking pay for it. If he comes up to you and says, hey, I need money, can I have some money for rent? You're going to be like, well, anything for my friend Nader. Good friend of mine, good old Nads. And you'll give him the fucking money, right? And the one thing that he was doing for you, which is pretending to be your boyfriend and pretending to care for you in that manner, he is no longer providing you. So what exactly is it that you are getting out of this? Because if you look at it, at the end of the day, call me a cynic, all relationships are transactional. You give something, the other person gets something. You are getting nothing in this exchange. And what's going to end up happening is that you're not going to be satisfied with it. You're going to want to go back to him being your boyfriend. And he's not going to enjoy that because he doesn't like you. He only likes your money. And then you guys are going to have another falling out. And this whole cycle will repeat. Except next time, he might have given you something incurable. Like HIV. He might have broken a bone instead of just leaving bruises on your tits. The place you've put yourself in, and you do this again and again and again and again. It's like you have brain damage. And I don't mean that as in a derogatory way. What I mean to imply are that there are actual certain conditions where when you have brain damage, you don't learn. You don't develop new memories. It's like you're stuck in 50 first dates. Every single time you go through this, people warn you, they tell you not to, and you are abusing people's sympathy for you. And I don't have any anymore. And that's why I'm so mad now when I come on this channel, and that's why I feel burnt out. I don't feel sympathy for you. I don't feel kindness for you. All I feel is pure unadulterated rage. And I swear, all I want to do is shake you until some of the wisdom absorbs. Shake you until you understand. And my first concern is I might give her shaken baby syndrome because you're acting like a fucking toddler. The third one she put up just shortly before I decided to come on here and talk about her video, right? I edited her other video down and then I added these comments. I wasn't thinking about actually talking about it because Milk Tea Reacts put up her video, and her video was very comprehensive. It was very good, and I was like, all right, cool. And then she put up this comment, and I was just like, oh my God, this lady. She says, my current truth, I want to go live, but I'm at Nader's, and I don't want to fuck with your heads. And then I forgot to expand it, but there's only one more line, and it says, I love you guys, and that's it. This has been once more heavily ratioed, 27 thumbs up and 320 comments, and none of them are happy. Fuck you. All the way. Fuck you all the way, Chantal. You don't want to fuck with our heads? You're at Nader's again? I don't understand what this man has to do for you to understand that this is a toxic relationship and that he is not the right person forget you, for anybody. As far as I can see, nothing is going to make you learn. Nothing is going to make you change your ways. So remember when you said, oh, if he ever says or does anything to my cats again, I would 100% leave. As far as I'm concerned, you could kick your cat down the stairs and you wouldn't care. you'd find a way to make it how it's the cat's fault, really, if you think about it. Why did the cat have to come in front of his feet when he was doing a kicking motion? I have no idea what this man has to do. And the funny thing to me is that you're sacrificing the relationships of everybody else in your life at the altar of this man's feet. And the only thing that he's going to give you, Chantal, is an STD. Again, it's all he's going to do for you. And quite frankly, as much as I don't like to victim blame, at some point, it is your fault. People get what they get. And a lot of times it's unfair what they end up with. But God fucking damn it if you don't deserve this. Sorry if I'm a little bit not in the center exactly. I can't quite tell. I am in a seriously bad mood now. I saw that comment and I got so pissed off that I did my makeup, and it's 1 o'clock at night right now or something. No, it's not 1 o'clock. It's 11:30 at this moment. I think it was 9:30 then. I was folding laundry and I was like, I gotta talk to somebody about this, because if I don't, I'm going to explode. And she made me so mad that I literally did my makeup and I hopped on here and I decided to talk to you guys. I needed to talk to somebody about this before I lost my absolute cool. That's what she does to me. I don't know how this relationship is going to end. It's going to end one way or the other. It will. Either she's going to end up homeless and broke, or they're going to move in together and it's going to take on a whole new toxic form. But one way or another, this phase right now that she's going through is going to end. And I just hope to God that Chantal doesn't end up in the hospital before then. And I don't mean one of her social visits that she makes to the ER doctors every once in a while. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Sorry if I was angry. I try not to be quite so mad. As you guys know, I have anger issues. So I try not to just get mad at her. But it's hard when she's making such reckless decisions for herself. I want to say thank you to all of my patrons, especially Oceana Song and D. Higgins. You guys are the GOAT, the greatest of all times. And I appreciate and love you. I also want to say a special thank you to Partner, who has helped me figure out some of the audio stuff recently. And last but not least, I just want to say a quick shout out to all of the people who are watching, because I always say thank you to my patrons, and I really do appreciate them, no doubt. But you guys who are watching, you guys make a big difference, genuinely. And I had a question for everyone watching right now. This is kind of the end, but a thought occurred to me. I had somebody message me and say, hey, I'm not willing to set up a Patreon, but I would love to be a member. I had never really wanted to do memberships. I think I'd considered it a while back, and even recently I'd mentioned that I just wanted to keep everything in one place. But I've had that message and some iteration of that message a few times on Twitter. And so I was wondering, do you guys want me to try memberships? Do you guys want me to make something like that? It would be the same benefits that my patrons get, which would be, you guys can give me whatever and I'll give you at least one extra video a month. But yeah, let me know down below. Sorry if this is a downer. Sorry if this is rambly. I am just so checked out of this entire narrative. I'm so upset that I can't really form sentences anymore. If you guys want to do all of the social media things, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, they're all linked down below as always. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Jasmine, the sequel, and I am not relatable. Peace. A special thank you to my patrons, Acrophobe, Ariel M, Christina, Courtney EP, Dainty B, Jam Beans, Sidra Z, Colleen L, Debbie Elliott, Just a Jude, Kate O, and a special thank you to my $25 patrons, D. Higgins and Oceana Song.